As of now, this application works with the login password credential, so we have to enter the right username password in order to log in. This part we have successfully completed, and add works as expected. I think this particular text unnecessarily shows up. Probably we'll hide this as well. Adding a new entry to a database, of course, roll number is a one. We are simply displaying the primary key, and by this time the primary key wouldn't have been created because it is a new record. I really see no purpose of displaying this particular roll number text as well as this something is there. We'll have to remove that. And of course this works adding checkbox. I think we have to work it out. This is also not working. And addition works, but whereas the edit part is we had to make it. I haven't even written a function to make edit to work, so that I have to make. But considerable amount of change. What we have done here, for a new content, the title appears as add student. For an existing content or existing record, it simply renamed to edit student, and of course this particular number shows up, roll number with a value, and there is a delete button also appears. Delete button won't be shown for a new record or new entry because we hide it because it doesn't serve any purpose for a new record. A delete button is no use. And back button, as usual, we can skip the save, simply go back to the previous page. So let us fix what are all the small issues what we have. I remember this one. I remember I clicked this one, set to S, but seems to be it's not taking the value. Let's see if we could fix that. First part is just like to know what is the ID I have given. This is pass. I'll do one thing. Set the value, default value set to yes, and set the default value set to checked. If fail means that user can uncheck it. Probably we could have included the mark. I think I forgot during the schema creation. Never mind. So it's by default it is selected. Or if I keep no, I really don't want to have anything. So this value, if you notice, as far as for a checkbox, nowhere the value is visibly seen. Whereas for input field, when it is having text as something, the input field value is very well visible. What is the value what I'm supplying here? So that's the difference between the normal input text with the text value or type set to text. If it is set to checkbox of radio, the value doesn't appear. It's really not appearing. So let's fix that issue first. So we have a separate JavaScript file, and which keeps track of which page is going to be displayed. So the page before change event, that just few seconds before or few milliseconds before the page is getting displayed, and you still have option to dismiss, not to load the page. But this particular area is pretty helpful for us to see which screen is being loaded. So in the edit student, this is for edit. Okay, let me add student also would require a fix because we were hard coding this value. So it is y. Okay, I'll make that also y. Y or n, yes or no, something like that. This time I'm going to make okay, rather than depending on value, better whether it's checked or not, check it. That will be easy instead of doing a roundabout way. I really see a simple hook around it. Instead of getting rid of, I'm really not going to bother about this value. You want to see before how it looks like. What it is. I'm just going to see whether the checked attribute set has any value, because the checked attribute which makes sure the selection happens or disable or whatever it is, or unselection or whatever. So I'm just going to see whether what is the value it is setting. Based on that, I'll save that into a database rather than directly hard coding anything. So let me just play around with that. Just give me undefined. Okay. This also a proper way to check. I'm trying to see if at all if I could arrive at a true or false. It will be helpful for me whether it is checked or not. It's a bad thing. We need to refresh every time to go to a main page. Then the entire DOM will get refreshed. Seriously, I'm running out of names. Okay, I get a false. That's looking good. Whether I did check or not, I didn't notice, but I did get a false. I'm checking what it is giving me. False. Checking. Everything is giving. Oh, okay. This one, it is recommended to see whether the DOM is giving me a right value or not, because jQuery seems to be modifying the skin. Because if you notice that JQueryMobile adding a lot of style sheet elements once a DOM is loaded. By default, it may be either checking or resetting the selected value. So let me try that. I'm just expecting if it is true or false accordingly. If not, we have to go back to the previous way of setting the attribute. Checkbox value is not getting it. That's also not setting. Attribute checked. words tool value. What is this one is showing? Let's find. This is where identify your checkbox. There are some sort of changes happening as I click. Data cache val seems to be setting true or false, because it is not like a normal jQuery. It is the JQueryMobile is doing something else. So as I move between them, jQuery seems to be modifying one of pseudo attribute data cache val set to true or false. If I could identify that, probably we can arrive at what exactly the value either set to true or false. Data cache val. Okay, let's try. I'm trying to read an attribute called data CAS. What's that? CACH. Alright. Okay, let's see. Trying to read this attribute and what's the value it's being set. Accordingly, we'll decide. I'm just running out of it. It's still false, right? I'm not getting that. I mean, I'm just expecting it true. Are we in the wrong place or checking? Ha ha ha. I mean, this is correct. Is pass attribute. Maybe there should be a easiest way. Let me refer the documentation. Stack Overflow. There is a big discussion going on this. Okay. They are suggesting the same one, but instead have a colon something to be prefixed, and they're saying it should give you a true or false character. Let's see. I hope I got it. At least true. So that was a simple mistake maybe. This one is needed. Obvious reason when this kind of requirement will come for a single attributes. For example, there is a most of the attribute will specify values. If you notice that this is attribute name, this is value. This is attribute name, this is value. This is how most of the DOM having an attribute and value But there are some attribute alone does not take any values. Say checked, we don't need to supply any values, but it will maintain the checkbox checked. And there is one more thing, disabled. This also you don't need to specify any value, will work. Or read only. These are all the attribute name which does not even require the value to be specified. For such a thing, jQuery values can be specified with the Boolean assigned value, because jQuery itself assign a true or false based on that. So that's the reason we are just to differentiate that we are putting this colon, just prefixing that whether the check value is true or false. So I'm assuming using that as a point, if it is true, the particular user is pass, else let the user fail. Okay. So that will be more appropriate. The programmatically we will somehow identify what is the yes or no to be set. This is for setting, and same thing we have to do for edit as well. I mean to reset the value. This is where we are resetting the value for editing screen. If equal to yes, set the value attribute this time, because there's check to true, else by default is unselected, right? We don't need to set anything. Okay, to make sure sometime radio checkbox ready, because the DOM JQueryMobile DOM has to be, the container has to be refreshed, checkbox radio refresh. I'm just expecting this has to be put. If any error comes, we'll report. Okay. I remember most of the user, I remember selecting pass. Let's create an entry without one, so that whether it is saving or not will identify. So the selection doesn't happen. So we fix the checkbox as well, but we are not completed. This we have to make sure the edit works, so that the user changes the name or select a pass or fail or changes the subject. Changes should take effect. So we'll have to do that part. Remember, this particular screen has two buttons. One is submit button, another one is edit button. Based on the edit or add page, I'm disabling or maybe hiding one particular button and showing only one button. If you notice that I have two buttons. One button is submit, which does the add new record or maybe adding the student record, but whereas this one I yet to define a function to edit. So let's add a function. This place would be good. So it's a function, right? I have put this one. Let's do that. Let me copy the transaction requirement. everything is same except only one line. I will have to mention the primary key as well. The name is given the ID. Yes, roll number. Okay. It has to be a number. So I'm making sure because I'm reading from my input field. It won't be a number. It may be a string type. So I just need to force it to be a number. What is that ID? Okay, we defined instead of add, we are just going to put. Put can add as well as edit. If at all the object is having a primary key, it will try to edit the particular entry. So already existing record could be edited, and of course the rest of the parts remains same. And at this point we should see the edit taking effect. You could have even kept a button instead of an anchor a URL. Both will work. Edit student. Any name we will change it. Making this guy unchecked. Yeah, the name change happened. So now it is editing. So edit is also working. Working as expected. So we have also completed the edit, and we also fixed the issue which was not setting the checkboxes. And let us hide this particular roll number block itself for add, then we will be good to go. Let me see that how to hide it. The add edit student, the same page is being used for adding as well as editing, deleting. So all the purpose the same page we are showing, but simply changing the title of a page accordingly. So the add student will have a different title when it is for an edit purpose. So that we are dynamically modifying. And I really want this block does not appear. So I'm just going to do some roll number block, something, a name I'm giving. So the whole, this particular field container itself won't be shown when a new entry is added. In fact, I am setting them. This is for edit. Roll number alone I am hiding. In this case, I am going to hide roll number block itself. So when a new record is created, the roll number block won't be shown. So we don't see the roll number when first time the fresh record is being created, whereas we will see the roll number for already existing record. So we have written the logic in such a way. For edit, it is more appropriate to display the roll number because I already existing record. And this delete, I would like to put an alert or pop-up before confirming, okay, go for delete, because this is very important design concept and or the way you build your user experience. When a sensitive data is about to be removed, it is always recommended to put an alert because sometimes the user may mistakenly click that. So instantly deleting it may not be an appropriate solution. So let us put an alert button and we'll ask the user whether you really want to delete or cancel it. Let's do that. So in the add edit student HTML, I'm going to add a pop-up. So the panel, in this case, data role is going to be pop-up. And ID recommended. Something warning pop-up. We'll keep a header. Theme, contrast theme, data theme. Ask the user what you really want to delete. Let's see how it appears, then we'll add some sort of icons to be shown. Data dismissible set to true. I really don't want to modify its behavior. Header footer, except this particular container is a pop-up, but otherwise it has a similar DOM construction as a simple page. So we'll have to call that when the user opt for delete student record. So time being, I'm just going to disable this block. At least we'll verify how it looks like. Okay, fine. Something, this thing, probably we'll keep it into two extremes. Let me try that. The footer by default should organize things into a right position, but it doesn't do. There is a way to push these buttons or anchor point into two extreme UI Patreon. left, and I'm just trying to keep this guy to let's see. This has gone. Is anything going wrong? Trying to fix. Okay. Trying to wrap everything inside a paragraph. That really doesn't serve the purpose. Never mind, we'll remove the photo block itself. It has not treating them as a button also. So I'm just making sure it is a UI button first and inherit a left property. This is something you can keep on define additional classes, keep inheriting from one. So by default it would have added certain style elements, and after that it will apply this one. I'm trying to keep these things into two different extremes. If nothing works out, we have one easiest way, putting a cross button on the top and just get rid of it. It's really bad. Okay. No text. missing anything? Data button. Okay, now only I have one button, so I can very well keep the footer. As I have a single button, so I don't need to think about that. Okay, I'll go with this one. I really don't want to spend time on this much. Remove this one. Maybe we'll add a little padding. Give some space. And when the user click on yes, I'm just going to call the JavaScript. Let's create one more function. And move all this code. When the user accept and go ahead, we'll delete it. Okay. Okay. So if I cancel, nothing happens. But if I click yes, I forgot to go back or what? Twice I need to hit back because first one to dismiss the pop-up, another one to dismiss the page back. So 2 back call needed. But there will be appropriate way still, but it's the easiest to fix. Then I can delete, except okay. Or if I choose to cancel, nothing happens. I can still edit. Go back. So delete will throw an alert stating that whether you'd like to delete or not. So in fact, hitting 2 back for one reason to dismiss the pop-up, because that is also a DOM which is overlaying on the top. So go back to previous page. Or the other way could be, if at all you encounter a pop-up, you can very well add one more else if block, checking that the pop-up is loaded, whether the pop-up is having an affirmative button, then accordingly let the user go back to the page. So whatever way you feel comfortable, that you can do. But I feel that's what I'm using already. Both are same. Data rel back is to use in HTML, whereas the equivalent which can be used in JavaScript is back. So here if you notice that I'm using both. For example, if I want to change the page, I usually give a href with the page destination name, file name. But I can do the same in the programmatic way also, which is the equivalent of this one, change. So depending on, for if you are trying to change the page directly from the anchor URL, you supply the destination, or you want to perform some programming before or some code execution logic before, after that you would like to change the page, it is better to do that through a JavaScript. In this case, the change page event, it's equivalent to this. Back, this one, data rel back. Okay? So this is a programmatic way, that is an attribute point or a data rel attribute point of view. Dot mobile tells that this is a part of JQueryMobile API. This particular dot mobile cannot be used if you do not include, for example, in the index, if you see that I'm integrating two JavaScript files. This dot mobile tells you are accessing something from this file, whereas this is a standard jQuery. So if you are some project, you may be using only this particular jQuery, there you cannot use that function. So this is applicable only for JQueryMobile JavaScript functionality. So that's the reason. Something I am putting dot mobile because this is specific to mobile, JQueryMobile only. So whenever you use a JQueryMobile, this functionality can be used. Otherwise, it cannot be used. So this particular application works as of now, even though it's not perfect, but most of the functional features has been put into place. So I want you to complete it today, within today. Hopefully morning session, if people were pretty amused, I don't know, maybe festival mood. Within today, complete it. Tomorrow we'll start a new topic. Seems to be we are just going on around, coming around the design point of view. Let us see some sort of coding more. So tomorrow we'll see a different topic, then we'll come back here. And until we conclude JQueryMobile topics, and I still have some theming and other stuff, which is a designing point of view, but I really don't want to touch at this point. Let's spend some more time on the coding logics. That's where I'm feeling you guys are having little, I'm not saying it's a difficulty, but you would need a little practice. So I would like to give more room for that. So tomorrow we'll see some different topic. As of now, I'll put this, all the source code, whatever I have updated, then you guys complete.